Hello and welcome back to Speed Freak Garage, home of power sports on YouTube. So we are here for part 2 of our front rally suspension. So you can see I put the strut back on. I mocked up our gravel rally tire. The camber, ignore the camber, the bolt's loose, but so what I'm doing is the front lower control arms do not have rebuildable ball joints. It's just another example of why German engineering is not the best engineering, because they made it so you can't even replace your ball joints. So we're going to have to do tubular lower control arms. There's a company online that sells tubular lower control arms for this car. They're about $1,200 for the pair. I can't afford that. It's a good price, it really is, because the next cheapest set after that company is like $1,600 to $1,700. So it's a good price, but I can't afford it, and I can't justify that kind of expense. So I'm gonna make my own custom tubular lower front lower control arms, blah blah blah. So the first thing we have to do is figure out our clearances for the tire and wheel, because to make the control arm strong, we want a U shape. So if you go and look at off-road truck control arms, they're a perfect U shape. And that U shape, long story short, is the proper way to control your braking and acceleration and your front back forces. Because that's going to be the highest force, is when you slam on the brakes, you're going to have all this force pushing on your control arm. So we want to maximize the strength in that direction. Now, unfortunately, the way they made this car, they made that very, very difficult. So you'll see here in a sec. So I didn't bring a marker. I meant to bring a marker. That might work. Okay. So if we turn our wheel all the way full lock, and then we kind of work my head in here somehow. Okay. And then we push full camber, so you can see the control arm has this cutout for the tire, because they have the ball joint almost dead even with the center of the subframe, or motor mount, or whatever you want to call it. I call it a subframe. But basically, this design prevents you from having a really strong control arm. Now, on a road car, it's not much of an issue, but in this case, it's an issue. So we need to minimize this cutout shape to get the maximum strength. And to do that, we're going to have to find our minimum clearance to the tire. Not having a... Ooh, that just fell right out. Not having a 3 hands is going to be tough, but basically, I left the tape measure too long. Maybe like there. So holding the tire in and measuring to the wheel, they left about 1 3/4 inch clearance, it appears, all the way around. Yeah, about 1 3/4 inch. Let's try here. Yeah, I'm seeing 1 3/4 inch. So basically, I can add 1.5 inches to this control arm, and I'll just barely be close to the tire. I mean, 1.5 inches might be too much, maybe 1 inch, but I'm gonna write down 1 3/4 inch clearance. So get my head out of here. Okay. So I'm gonna do tire clearance 1 3/4 inch max, because that's important. Okay. So now we need to get this tire back off. I don't know why I put all 5 lug nuts on it. That doesn't make much sense, does it? My bad, but yeah, these wheels are some pretty hardcore racing wheels. I mean, the tire's unbelievably heavy, but the wheel weighs nothing. I mean, I'm pretty sure the wheel was less than 15 pounds. I mean, just hope it's not too brittle. I know sometimes people have trouble with these wheels cracking because they're too light almost, you know, but I mean, your unsprung weight when you're off-road or really any type of racing, your unsprung weight is ungodly important, and you don't want to ignore it. Okay, come on. No idea why I tightened it down so much. Okay. Okay, we're gonna pull this off. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get some measurements. Oh shit, I shouldn't have pulled that off yet. Fuck. Okay, well, we're gonna get some measurements that'll help us simulate the wheel and tire contact to the control arm in the 3D program. So we're gonna do tire, wheel barrel, and the tire. Okay, and then I needed the offset from the ball joint. I screwed that up. So the ball joint's like inside the wheel by a certain amount, right? So I need that number. I'm gonna have to put the wheel back on. All right, anyway. So the barrel of the wheel, we're gonna call it 14 to be safe. 14 inch, and then including the tread, we're looking at 24, you could call it 25 to be safe. Okay, and then I gotta get that offset number. Damn, that was a mistake. I tried to plan out what I wanted to do today ahead of time, and obviously I did not plan good enough. Frickin' things back. Well, just 2. I just need 2 of them. Smart. Very smart. And obviously there's going to be some camber caster effects for, you know, the simulation, but I should be able to get it pretty darn close. And if it's not close, I can adjust it since I know my clearance already. Okay, so with the wheel straight, we can now guesstimate our so the center of the ball joint. See, this is gonna be tough because the ball joint's like actually angled a little. Oh no, wait. Okay, I see. Almost looks like the tire looks like it's 2 inches because it's got this big. I'm a little worried these might, yeah, but they'll wear down. Okay, let's try this again. So the ball joint to the tire, I'm gonna say 2 inches. I'm not gonna be modeling the knuckle or the hub, so having the, you know, the offset from the tire or the wheel manufacturer means nothing. So 2 inch from the tire, you know, to the center line of the ball joint about. And what I did is I ordered Porsche 944 ball joints from pre-1985 early. So the early 944 had a changeable ball joint. Why they decided to go with the non-replaceable ball joint, I have no clue. It's stupid. But so the problem is the early 944 control arms are really flimsy, so I can't use them, you know, because that would be a lot cheaper, but they're junk. What the hell was that? But yeah, so okay, we got our offset, we got our tire clearance measurements to kind of simulate a tire. So we can now, oh wait, one more thing, me dumb, sorry. So just having this isn't good enough. We also need from the center of the wheel to, ooh, that's gonna be a tough one. Maybe to the center of the control arm. I don't know how I'm gonna measure that. That would have been a dumb mistake to forget. 4 inches, almost 4.5 really. It's kind of hard to, that looks like the center of the disc brake. We're looking at about 4.5 inches. Okay, sorry, that would have been dumb to forget. Okay, 4.5 inches. Okay, and I'm just doing it in inches because I don't have a metric tape measure. I really need to get one. So now we can take it all apart. And what we're going to do is remove the control arm, and without dropping the brake rotor in the hub, because I don't have to disconnect brake lines, so I'm going to hang. Hopefully they'll just kind of hang from the strut without causing problems. And I did come to a design and agreement with Watt Suspension, and so I placed an order, and I'll see my new off-road front coilovers built-in 1-inch lift allowance adjustable in 30 to 60 days, I think they said. And here's far behind is the rear shock stars. No, those will show up. So, okay, so I can move you back to your storage. Oh, yeah. Which has some cardboard underneath these tires, they're probably staying on the floor right now. Don't be your long drift tires. Okay, right. So, jack stand. Oh, for those of you who are unaware, Harbor Freight recalling all of their jack stands. However, these look, they're not the Pittsburgh brand, so I'm okay. Okay, let's see. Got some different things I can try and wedge in there. That'll work. Yeah, this is gonna be easy. Okay, it took a while, but I found them. And we got the hammer. Yes. Now, you just have to hope this works. Seems like it's gonna work. Come on. I get it. I got it. I think. Come on. Did I get it or not? No, it's just barely stuck in there still. Come on. There we go. Now it's free. Okay. Okay. That's free now. And then to release it, maybe smart to take those two bolts out first. Okay. So there's actually anti-seize on it because I didn't use enough. But so we got a problem because I don't think I can get a Heim joint with a bolt size that's fuck. Oh man, that's not good. It's really not good. Dimension's so weird. So now we need to take some basic measurements from all of this. And the hope is that it's a fairly simple and straightforward, because we really don't, I mean, we need this shape, but we don't need the shape. It's hard to explain. But so we've got, we're going to basically simulate our subframe, and we're going to simulate our, so I want to get this dimension, this dimension, this dimension, and this dimension. Well, this is actually a lot thicker, but you can start small. So luckily, I can, oh, I should have done it while it was off. It's 45, let's call it 45 millimeters. Okay, There's plenty of clearance, so we don't have to worry about the size of the heim joint. Plenty of clearance. Okay. Now we need to measure. Well, it's not gonna cooperate, is it? 11. Problem is I'm moving it just by, damn, this is pain. Yeah, 11. That's 10 though. What the hell? What is going on? Is this one bent a little? Kind of a, I think that one's actually bent just a little bit. So this one's 10. If I call it 10, that could screw up my, do 10. Definitely supposed to be 10 and something's a little off. Okay, now the distance between them should be straightforward. $62, just a little tight. 62. Okay. Now for the major distance, not really sure what to do about this. This is going to be a big problem, especially because if you're off-roading, this could easily turn and move, and you don't want that. You don't want this adjuster, just like you don't want the camber adjuster bolt down at the bottom. So, but it'd probably be smart to put some of this back together so we don't cause problems later on. Okay. Okay. So I've got fresh batteries for this thing. I actually had a whole bunch of them, luckily, because this one chews through them. Okay. So this thing should be big enough to measure the whole thing. I really, really hope. If not, I am screwed. It's, and of course I can't read it from where I'm standing right now. But it appears to be 264 millimeters, basically right at the end of my and the first time I've ever used it, and probably one of the last. So 264 millimeters. Now you're probably thinking, why do I only need, well, I also need this number here. From here to here. Yep, it's too long. Okay, I can half-ass it and then double check with the tape measure. So if we do from center to center, we're looking at, all right, let's do it this way. We'll make it 200 mil even from here to make a mark, okay? And then from that mark, we have 165, so 365 millimeters. Now I could technically go and make a control arm design off of just these measurements here that I just got. However, there's some issues. Again, the tire clearance like we talked about. Now I can simulate the tire myself and then not even have to worry about trying to replicate this curve, because honestly this looks like a pain in the ass to replicate. So I'd probably be smarter to use the software that I have to simulate that tire curve, the clearance for the tire. Because measuring this, what I'd do is I'd go like, okay, it's this wide, and then I'd go up an inch, it's this wide, I go up an inch, it's this wide, I go up an inch, it's this wide, and this wide, and this wide. And then I'd have to switch, and then I would input all that data into the program and then draw the mathematical curve. Now, honestly, that's pretty useless to me, because when I do this out of tubing, I'm gonna have a straight tube, and then I'm gonna have a tube that's straight, curve, straight. No fancy, ridiculous, crazy shit. So my goal is to make a tube that has the least amount of curve in it as possible, because that curve adds weakness, because it's curving in the wrong direction. And then I'll probably have some kind of support bracing depending on what the software simulation tells me. I'm not going to include the sway bar mount at all, because it's an off-road car. You don't want a sway bar, and it'll weaken the tube. Now, the problem here is the way this car is set up right now is it has very, very little, how do you say it? Sorry. It has very little caster. And I would like to have more caster. The problem is if we truly take a straight edge, this ball joint is only, I mean, it's not really where I would personally prefer it to be. And you don't want to move it this way, because that would really screw up all the geometry. You want to move it this way if you can. You want to move it forward to get more caster. I hope caster is the right term. That way your suspension can take the hits better. I wish I had I do have a longer straight edge. Okay, hopefully this is long enough to get me what I need. Yeah, so if we hold this tight against, come on. If we hold this thing tight against it actually comes down like right here. Okay, so I need that number. Fuck. Come on. It's very. No, that's not gonna work. Just need it flat. I need it flat on here, and then it's gonna come down. Okay, and then I need this number from here to the center. Ah, fuck you. Okay, like that. 22 millimeters. Okay, so from the inside to here, 22 millimeters. Okay. So I might be able to use some of this to my advantage to try and make a stronger arm. And then I want to double check. No, tape measure. Wow, it's almost 2 inches, but then it goes down to 1 inch. So the other thing is, where is the center of the ball in relation to this hole? And it's really pretty much dead on center. And really, if you move it up or down a little bit, it's not going to hurt anything. So we're just going to kind of ignore, that 1 or 2 millimeter difference. We're going to go into the computer and we're going to oh man, I'm out of it today. We're going to go into the computer and we're going to put in this simulated, vehicle simulation, and then start drawing a control arm around our parameters. That includes the off-road Heim joints, and we're gonna have to ignore this stupid ass thing for now until I can figure out what to do about it. I probably should at least get the diameters off of it. It looks like it's even on both sides. So 19. Oh shit, they're 2 different sizes. Fucking assholes. It's a 19 and an 18. And then that's a 12 and a 12. The stupidity. 12. So the part that goes in here is the 19. Damn, that's fucking huge. And then the part that goes in our block there is wait, do I have that backwards? No, I have that right, don't I? Shit. Yeah, it's 18. It's 18, so I don't know why they did that. I don't know what possibly compelled them to... It's so stupid. Maybe so it couldn't be put in backwards? Okay. Yeah. Alright, so now we gotta go to the computer and design all this crap. Okay, so I was looking at some pictures of control arms, and it looks like I forgot a couple measurements that are important. So that's 8 millimeters. I need to mark that here too. And then it also appears, and it's really hard to confirm because I can't really get my eye to line it up. But it almost, I don't know, I'm having trouble. Because it appears like, the way I see it, it seems like this is straight. Like it's a straight shot all the way through. But if I line the hole's up. It's just a little off. I mean, just a little bit off, which a Heim joint would allow a little, margin of error. But when you look straight down at this, it doesn't seem, I don't know, something just seems kind of off. Maybe I'm just crazy, but it doesn't seem like these holes line up. But then when I look down through this hole, it sure as hell seems like they line up. I'm very confused by that. Very, very, very confused. I mean, they would have to line up, right? I don't know. Some of the pictures I'm seeing online they're not lined up. Like, what? Is it just an optical illusion? It's in order for, I mean, even if they're a little off, it's not a big deal, but it sure seems like, let's see, how far is the center of the hole from the ground? Yeah, so the hole center is a little different, but I mean, it's it's confusing. It's very confusing. Oh yeah, the size of the ball joint. I probably should, just for reference, not the new ball joint's gonna be totally different, but it's like there's a little bit of rubber there, so we'll go with 42. Answer to everything. Okay. I don't know why the pictures I'm seeing online, this is like up. I'm not understanding of why. It's got to be a geometry thing that I don't understand. Okay. All right. Okay, now we can go to the computer.